Madame la Présidente, Monsieur le Président éméritus, Monsieur le Vice-président pour les affaires académiques, Mesdames et Messieurs les vice-présidents et vice-présidents associés, chers membres de la communauté EPFL, chers collègues, Mesdames et Messieurs. Okay, let me translate this to English. Hi there. My name is Sabine Sistrunk. I am the Dean of the School of Computer and Communication Sciences here at EPFL. It is with immense pleasure that I welcome you to the honorary lecture of our dear colleague, Pierre Dillenburg. Pierre has had many roles here at EPFL. He was a professor, a researcher, vice president, inventor, jogger, acting provost, but foremost, and I believe his most defining role is he is an educator, and he will remain so for the rest of his life. And so without further ado, I will turn over the word to Professor Ana Fontcuberto y Moral, President of EPFL.
Thank you. Have you ever wondered that some people may drink from the fountain of youth? I sometimes think that's the case of Pierre. And I wonder, is it the expeditions to the North Pole and the face-to-face with the bears? Is it the potluck? Is it the involvement and dedication to teaching and with the students? What is it? I really hope he's going to unveil all this in his lecture. I really look forward to that. He's a role model in many, many things at EPFL. From the personal point of view, I think many of us take him as a friend, and also as a colleague. He's a role model for everything he has done in research, education, and innovation. He's been a star in the three things, and it's quite difficult to find this. And so I'd like to highlight, and I think many will as well, and I think about my next speaker. So first, the craft that doesn't exist anymore because it has evolved in the CAPE, so the Centre de Recherche sur l'apprentissage, la formation et ses technologies. Then the CD, the Centre pour l'éducation à l'ère digitale. This was the start of the MOOCs. Pierre was a visionary in saying, you know, we need MOOCs. Digital is going to be the future in education. And he was right. I think we couldn't envision today teaching without the digital part and what the digital education has brought to us. With the startups, he has started numerous startups. And not only this, because he likes to share his successes, he likes to share his passion. So then he created the EdTech Collider so that many startups in the education could get inspired from each other. The Center Learn, for the Les Sciences d'Apprentissage, and also there he couldn't stay in Canton Vaud. He said, you know, we need to show this to other cantons, so there's a BLearn in the Canton Bern. And also beyond Bern, together with Manu, created the program for the doctoral students in education, in learning sciences with the ETH Zurich. It's the first doctoral program that we have with the ETH Zurich. Hopefully there are many more to come. So even with this, he was innovating. We all, I mean, as a colleague, as associate vice president in my last mandate, I appreciated having Pierre very much as a colleague, inspiring in all the meetings, inspiring how much passion he put into the education and the relations with the students. I think students were extremely inspired by him, and he really made a closer relation between the direction and the students, which was very necessary. So we managed to succeed Pierre as AVPE. It was very tough. Where is Pierre? I don't see him. Ah, here. That's him, not going to the first row. We managed. He helped us a bit. So we managed to find a brilliant person to succeed Pierre, and I'm very thankful. But there's probably many things we will not be able to succeed him because of his uniqueness. Pierre was joking many times that he would candidate as president. It didn't happen, but he became the provost for 4 months. And thank you for doing this. It was very necessary, and we're very thankful you gave one of your legs to do that. So I just finished to say that we will miss your impact. We will miss everything you do for us. And hopefully we still the friendship still stays. So we will not have to miss your friendship because this can stay for many years to come. And with this, I give the word to Rüdiger, who's going to talk about you as well.
Well, Pierre, it's a great pleasure to be here. I don't know if it's a popularity contest here, but if it is, and I don't know who the other participants are, I think it's safe to say you won, okay? Just look around. Now, on November 21st, 1960, Pierre, he was in outskirts of Brussels, and I tell you the exact date because that tells you that you still have at least a month to get Pierre a fantastic 65th birthday present, okay? So don't forget, November 21st. So he went down, okay? He had already a tendency to go down to Switzerland, but for the first 18 years, he only made it about 22 kilometers down, okay, from his birthplace. And you might not know this place, but you might recognize this place, which is literally just a stone's throw away, Waterloo, where he got his, his first degree, I guess his high school diploma. He then went a little bit further south, okay, to get his further degrees. So he was in the right direction already, okay, and he had also quite a few jobs in between. Then, for whatever reason, he made a little bit of jump northwards, okay? Lancaster, where he got in the Department of Computer Science, or computing as it was called, his doctorate. But then finally, he figured out where he actually really wanted to go, and he ended up in Geneva in 1992, where he was an MAR at the University of Geneva for quite a while, for about 10 years. Now, I tried to find, some more human part about this whole, 30 years that was there, and tried to find some baby pictures. Wasn't easy, okay? Was quite difficult, okay? Here's some 3 cute pictures, okay? Now, before you say too much, I must just warn you, only one of them is Pierre, okay? Okay? The other 2 are the second and first most important person who were born in Belgium in 1960. One is Jean-Claude Van Damme, and the other one is Philip of Belgium. So who is our Pierre? The middle one, okay? You can already see the bright eyes and the interest and everything, okay? Now, a little bit later, okay, so they're pretty much the same age. A little bit later then, in 2002, so Pierre was about 10 years in Geneva, Pierre finally made the right decision and came to EPFL, became a professor in IC, and we are very thankful and grateful for this, where he headed the Chile lab and was a professor in learning technologies. Now, if you look back, right, 2002, we have now 2025, so that's a long time, right? It's 23 years. And so I think that begs the question, what has Pierre ever done for us, okay? I mean, what has Pierre ever done for us? No?
Well, I don't know if I dare interrupting you, but definitely bring us this new MERE title, which valorizes...
Okay, the MERE title. Okay, fine. It's given us the MERE title. Okay, fine. Good, okay? But, it's 23 years. I mean, what has he ever done for us, okay?
Perhaps a week of holiday during the fall semester.
Yeah, there's holiday, right, October. That's good, okay, fine, okay. A week of holiday, okay. But besides, okay, week of holiday, MERE title, what has Pierre ever done for us, okay? What has he done?
Was he the fellow who made the cap on 3,000?
Right, we were overworked, and now we have the cap of 3,000 students. Oh, right. I think the French call it the second Waterloo, no? Okay, fine, okay, but good. So we have the cap on students, we have the MERE title, okay? We have, what was the third one? Holiday, okay, good, fine. But, seriously, 23 years, what has Pierre done for us, no?
Deferred exams, thanks to...
Deferred exam, yeah, okay, everyone knows about the deferred exams, okay, fine. We have deferred exams, okay, good, okay. Fine. 4 things, okay? 23 years? What has Pierre done for us? Okay? Really? Now? Seriously?
Finding the money to replace IS Academia.
IS, oh, right, IS Academia. Right, I have forgotten about that. IS Academia. Okay, IS Academia. He started to process IS Academia. Okay, 23 years, 5 things. Is that it, really? What has it done for us?
Il a voulu aider les enseignants et les cours de première année avec le CPRO.
CEPRO, right. Are these the guys that fix the computers when you need them? Is that the thing? CEPRO, right, the student support, first year. I had completely forgotten about it. Okay, CEPRO, okay, you know, it's kind of useful. Okay, very good. Pierre, is that all? Really? 23 years?
A brand new teaching building.
A brand new teaching building. We need teaching buildings, brand new teaching building. Okay, we're getting there, okay. Anything else? Can anyone else think of something?
Didn't he also take on a strange double job at some point?
Double job? All right, when the Great Dane left, right. He took on the provost job. Okay, good. Okay, fine. Pierre, it's fine. Obviously, okay, I should have prepared better. I had forgotten all of these things. But obviously, you did an enormous job, okay? And, you know, I just started, you know, we just, you know, discovered a few. Anna had mentioned many, many other ones, right? Your entrepreneurship, you know, the MOOCs thing, the EdTech Collider, the sustainability courses that you brought in the first semester, of course, the scientific contributions, etc., right? Now, this is just one side of Pierre, but there are many other sides of Pierre that you may or may not know, okay? There's a very glamorous and kind of, dare I say, sexy side to Pierre, okay? Okay? So, okay? But couldn't you just visualize him on Vogue magazine, okay? Or maybe the Rolling Stone magazine, okay? You know, if you look on the right. And if that's not enough, okay, what about Pierre the Explorer, right? Or maybe Pierre the Marathon Man, okay? And the only reason that the picture on the right-hand side is a little bit fuzzy is because his marathon time at the time was about 2:20 something, and I guess it wasn't taken by a high-speed camera, okay? So that's why we have that. And if that's not enough, okay, we have Pierre the musician, and we have, of course, Pierre the friend that he is to many, many people of us. So Pierre, you know, thanks a lot. It's really fantastic, all the things that you have done. You know, I don't think we can thank you enough. And I think Anna already mentioned, right, your enthusiasm, your continued youthfulness. I think she said, I'm not sure I misquote, you don't look 1 day older than 64 years, 10 months, and 18 days. I think that's what she said, right? So that begs the question, okay, Mr. Dillenburg, what's next? Okay, but perhaps we hear a little bit something now in the next 45 minutes. Pierre, thank you very much.
Merci Rüdiger, super sympa. Madame la Présidente, Madame la Doyenne, Monsieur le Président éméritus, Madame la Ministre éméritus de l'Éducation, chers amis, best friends, beste Vrienden, carissimi ragazzi, if you apply A to B, whether A is computer science and B is education or the other way around, A, of course, influences B. But what I will try to demonstrate, inshallah, is that it works also the other way around. B influences A, action, reaction. Okay? That's the goal of my talk. Are you ready? Andiamo, ragazzi? Andiamo! Whoa!
Un grand soleil noir tourne sur la vallée, cheminée muette, portail verrouillé, wagons immobiles, tours abandonnées, plus de flammes oranges dans le ciel mouillé, on dirait la nuit de vieux châteaux forts, bouffés par les ronces, le gel et la mort, un grand vent glacial fait grincer les dents, monstre de métal qui va dérivant. Je voudrais travailler encore, travailler encore, forger l'acier rouge avec mes mains d'or, travailler encore, acier rouge et main d'or. J'ai passé ma vie là, dans ce laminoir, mes poumons, mon sang et mes colères noires. Horizon barré là, les soleils très rares, comme une tranchée rouge saignée.
Thank you. Any question? Ah, no. You want to know what happened before. Manu, you want to know what happened before. Okay. Before, ben, un beau matin, on ne va plus à cloche-pied sur les pavés. On ne court plus sur le chemin des écoliers. On ne court plus pour le plaisir d'être premier, non. La jeunesse, ça s'en va. The middle picture is interesting because I was the last of the race. Belgian Championship, Hazel Stadium, but I was the last. But I saw there was a photograph, you know. Professional imposter, okay? That's all my life. And then I diversified. I decided to go with more snow, more vertical, and I diversified even more. I had the pleasure to meet, the chance to meet Alain Hubert, who is here, who brought me 3 times to La Patrouille. We crossed Spitsbergen and Baffin Island. Alain, thank you, because I've done things with you that I would never have done. Some of you know him because you are using the scientific base that he has built in Antarctica. Okay, I know, I am supposed to talk about my work, but that's important because without the sport, I would not be here. When you arrive to Belgium, I said, are there some Belgian people in the room? Are there some Belgian people in the room? Ah. When you arrive from Belgium to Geneva, the social relationships are not the same. In Belgium, it's smooth, it's easy, unless when I arrived in Geneva, I met this guy over there, and Stade Genève, and when you are all naked in the shower, the social barrier, whether you are political refugee or banker, the political barrier fade out. So we've been running in the mountains, we've been singing in the mountain, country road and so on, singing in the mountains, and of course singing in the street, but I cannot tell you what we've been singing there. And actually, this was important because also when I arrived to EPFL, that's why I get quickly integrated. I've been running a lot with Marc Parlange, with Harald Brune, sometimes with Pascal and Rüdiger. Remember, we've been running together. Huh? We were not so beautiful as today, but we've been gravity. We were less sensitive to gravity at that time. Okay. Let me talk about my work. Something you may not know that I all started as a school teacher.
Deux petites flaques, un oiseau qui boite.
In 81,
sur le
31
chemin,
kids.
donnons-nous la main, sautons la
Yeah,
barrière,
the kids were in
dans
blue,
les
that's why I was dressing in
fougères,
brown,
cherchant
so
les
that they
fleurs
recognized me
de la
as being the
croche-cœur.
teacher.
De Caroline à Madeleine,
And then,
Christophe
25 years later,
Horizon.
thanks to Olivier
Sur
and
la
Christine,
colline,
they organized a party for
Coraline
the same
chante
kids
cette
25 years later.
chanson.
That's my Nobel Prize.
Si les paroles sont un peu folles,
Okay,
c'est
but-
que les
but
enfants
I was
inventent
20,
tout le temps.
21.
Chasse.
So I decided to move on. Université de Mons was doing a bachelor in education, then a master in evening classes, so I could do it while being teacher at the beginning, and I discovered books on AI. I discovered ski, love, and AI at the same time. It's a single concept. So I applied machine learning to education in '86. I had a computer that doubled the memory. My computer went from 64K to 128K. But at that time, AI was not frightening. Now it's frightening. It was not frightening because it did not work. But it was beautiful. Symbolic AI is so more beautiful than transformer and deep neural nets and so on. And because of that, I have been accepted to do a PhD in the Department of Computing and Running. That was the name. Because my supervisor was running the marathon 7 minutes slower than me, and the dean, 3 minutes slower than my supervisor. So, and there again, it was about AI, but this time a human person and an AI engine learning together. It's a hot topic together, human-AI collaboration. Today it's a hot topic. And believe it or not, at that time, I was speaking English with a French accent. You don't believe it, huh? Then Daniel, that I see over there, Daniel Salut, brought me to Geneva, where we built TechFA with several other people. And we met a guy called Tim Berners-Lee, 92 probably. He showed us HTML. I said, this is ugly. I'm not a visionaire. No. I said, this is ugly, but we will try that. So we built an online degree, 5 weeks online, 1 week at home in 95. We were probably among the very first one. So now let's talk a bit about research. Through all these years, there has been one dominant topic in my life, which is how to use computers for collaborative learning. Collaborative learning is not sitting together to study Analyse 1, it's learning from solving problems together. That's what you call collaborative learning. You might say, this is stupid, Pierre. The goal of computers is to do personalized learning, individual adaptation to the needs of the learner. Is it the school where you would like to put your kids? Not me. Nila, you will never go in a school like that. This is my granddaughter. We will never go in a school like that. You know, that's dead, okay? I like this picture. These are 3 girls in Santiago de Chile, with my friend Miguel Nussbaum, and you see they have 1 mouse each. The 3 mice connect to the computer, and they can only touch some object on the screen in such a way that the 3 girls need to interact together. There is no exclusion to be able to interact with the software. So, but down the road, think about it. An ignorant, you put an ignorant and a second ignorant together, that makes a bunch of ignorant. Where is knowledge coming from? By which miracle is knowledge produced? Because you are together. And the studies, this is a meta-analysis. Every line is one empirical study. The dotted line in the middle is if there is same result learning in teams or individually. And you say, in average, there is a benefit of learning in teams of 0.6 standard deviation, which is very substantial. Okay. Now, Madame Amarelle, when she was Minister of Education, would be happy with that. It means that if you do collaborative learning, not making it a religion, but if you do some of it, there is no risk as a minister. As Nicolas is the Minister of Education of EPFL. No, there is no risk in promoting not too much, but some learning. But if you're a scientist, that doesn't fly. If it works sometimes and not sometimes not, it means it's not effective. You have to understand how and why it is effective. And to make a very long story short, it's not the fact of being together. When you are together, you start to argue, to disagree, to rephrase, to formulate, to change a viewpoint. And it's not the fact that you speak that makes you learn, it's the cognitive effort for constructing the explanation, for constructing the argumentation. So it's a question of cognitive effort. If you are engaged into a difficult argumentation, then it's a learning opportunity. And at this point, I want to mention this guy, Patrick, t'es là? Okay. Patrick has been with me forever, poor guy. One day he asked me, do you know who will be the next vice provost for education? I said, that's me. He said, oh no, he said. And he's known for the MOOCs, 3 million people who took a MOOC, but he has been doing research for me, and we had a clear division of labor. he gets things done, and I speak about it. That was the way we've been working. So Patrick, merci beaucoup. Je te dois beaucoup de tout ce qu'on a réussi à faire ensemble. And these are the first 3 PhD students. Nicolas, unfortunately, passed away over New Year, hiking in Jordan. Mauro is here, he's professor at Université de Lausanne. Mirwais is head of UX for PlayStation in San Francisco. The CEO put a meeting this week for him over there, so he could not join. And one of the topics to understand why collaboration has cognitive effect is there is something when you work with, if Mr. Blue works with Mrs. Red, Mr. Blue needs to have some idea about what Mrs. Red understands, doesn't know, wants to do some, not a detail, but some mental model of the other. And the psycholinguist with Uli here, who is a psycholinguist, Mr. Blue has also some idea of what Mrs. Red knows about Mr. Blue. She doesn't know that I know that. She knows that I doesn't know that, and so on and so on. It looks over complex, but in daily conversation, we do that all the time. We adapt a conversation to what the other is expected to know or to not know. For instance, Mirwais, in his PhD, shown that if the two students pass a test, and during the task, when they build a concept map together, you show to each other their score at the pre-test, it has no effect. If they have more or less the same score, both very good, both very bad. But if there is a discrepancy of knowledge, then it has an effect on learning. And then we started to do a bit better. We say, okay, we have this new microscope called eye trackers. If we have 2 people working on a computer display, each with an eye tracker, and we synchronize the eye tracker, what Mauro found is that the more they look at the same thing at the same time, the more efficient they are on the task. It's not the same pixel, it depends on the size of object, and it's not at the same time. If Mr. Blue, look, let's say there is a banana on the screen. He says, he look at time 0, it looks at the banana, he will say banana, but he will look at it a bit before, and the listener, Mrs. Red, will look at it 1.2 seconds later. So there is a time, we say at the same time, there is a time span of 2 minutes. So it's a lot of computation to be done, but here is an example. There are 2 people reading code on the screen, and they try to understand the code. You have Mr. Blue, Mrs. Red, and you will see this was a very bad pair.
This part check for winner, it actually P. First,
they talk about
P
something,
is for player,
they don't look at the same thing.
Those indexes
no way they will
are for their...
Inversely,
what is
it was a very effective pair.
Stand for?
I don't know. Well, what's the difference?
Like it's...
We just loop 3 times.
This makes
the initial
linguists crazy.
The start of the loop
we
is
can predict if 2 people understand each other without listening to them, just by the synchronization of their gaze. Then we went one step further. Patrick and Xitij and other people, when we made MOOCs, they use eye tracker. When we make MOOCs, we put the hands of the teacher to create some presence, some feeling of presence, but we made it semi-transparent, so you can read the text through the hand, okay? Swiss quality wanted to be these things well done. And is that useful to see the finger or the pen of the teacher? So this is a MOOC of Martin Odersky. I think I've seen him before. And here it is. These are the gaze of 20
You've seen in the
people.
last slide that function parameters come with their type. And this type is given after the parameter name
Some of them
and
get
a colon
distracted
and
by the
scalar.
air
So
of
you would
Martin
write
here.
x colon double y
Some
colon
of them
n.
look at the wrong
You
side
can
of the
also get
pen.
return type of a function that follows.
So is it good to follow basically the finger of the teacher? No. Our eyes are attracted by moving object. This comes from Darwin. If your eyes were not attracted by by moving object, you have been eaten by lions. And when you have been eaten by a lion, it's more difficult to transmit your genes to the next generation. So, but if they follow moving things, but if they dwell, a dwell is a long fixation, then this was predictive of learning effect. And then with Mirko and Roland, we gave Roland an eye tracker, and we wanted to study if can we predict the attention of learners in a class. And I had some colleagues who was losing attention. He did never notice. I say, oh, maybe I can do something that he noticed when he loses attention. So we don't do eye tracking with 40 people, but the nose is predictive of the gaze by 7 degrees. And the fact that they look at the teacher is not predictive of attention. Why? Because those students are professionals. They've learned for 20 years to fake attention. They look at you like that. They are professionals, okay? So what was predictive of attention was the fact that they rotate their head at the same time. Because the reason they rotate their head is because they follow a moving object. And this moving object is the teacher. Okay? So, dear colleagues, move when you teach, and also good for the neck of the student. Okay, so in some case, we did the same studies. If it is a key competencies of human, between humans, we misunderstand all the time, small things. But we detect misunderstanding and we repair misunderstanding. Okay? That's a very good human skills. Machines don't have these skills. So we try to develop the same skills. It's called mutual modeling or repair, detecting and repair for robots. And I don't know if Alexis finally arrived or not, but a few people have been working on that. We'll talk about it later on. Now, one part of research is exploring these things. One part is designing technologies or designing gadgets. So the first one was this table. At the middle, you see the microphone that comes from the lab of Martin Vetterli. It was Christophe Faller, microphone array. It computes the angle of the voice, and the more you speak, the more the LEDs turn on in the table. Okay? Why? Because in a team, if someone dominates, if he verbalizes, he articulates, he's learning. But the one that is out of the interaction is not learning much. So can we show to someone that he is speaking much? If we show speech over a few seconds, which is not useless, the real experiment is over 10 to 20 minutes. It was French. Okay, does it work? Well, this is a team of 4 people. You see that the blue and the green kind of self-regulate. It's called a team mirror. It helps you to see, it doesn't tell you what to do, it just shows you what you are. And then the blue said, I don't care. Probably a Swiss German. I don't care. It's not a table that will force me to. Sorry, Martin. Okay, that was a PhD of Khaled. And the next one is Hamed. And Hamed went to observe the lessons of the exercise of physics, the killing class. There is a TA, and there are 2 guys waiting for the TA. One is walking, one is not walking. Where is she going? She is going to the one who is not walking because he wants to grab her as soon as she is available. So what he found, Hamed, is that 62% of the time, when they wait, they do nothing. Physics 101, the very difficult class. So he designed the lantern, which is a small device that you put on your desk, and the color indicates which exercise you do. The number of LEDs go up with time, because if you ask questions when you're here, you will never be an engineer. And then that's it. When you need help, you push on it and you continue walking. It starts blinking slowly and then faster and faster. Very stupid technology. Wasted time when was divided by 10. Okay? So 2 concepts here in these 2 technologies. First of all, when you talk about digital education, people think about e-learning, which is kind of a sleeping pill. And the second thing for computer scientists is that here we deliberately reduce the resolution of information. In computer science, we always want more power, more bandwidth, more billions of parameters in deep neural nets. And here, we made it, we could display the exact waiting time or speaking time. No, we even put a blurring glass to make it more socially acceptable. And we had several, Himanshu is here, and Nan, who become a fashion photographer. Many of these technology for classroom. The second main axis of the lab has been vocational education, and Jessica has been active. Patrick was the initiator. Jessica has been there, Richard at KTH now, and many PhD students. We've been working with all of them, you know, car mechanics, logisticians, carpenters, gardeners. It's a pleasure. And also, when I give talk in this place like l'Association des Plâtres, Peintriers Vaudois, I always say this same sentence. We didn't know that EPFL pays attention to us. You are up there, and that's for Schneider-Raman, for Parmelin, no? The fact that EPFL has been working on Berufsbildung, that's the only German word I know, Berufsbildung is very politically correct. So the model was we use technology to capture experience in the company, 4 days in a company, and bring it at school. And this was the first one. That was, again, Patrick went to observe logistic assistant. They are supposed to learn logistics? No. They move box as fast as possible in the warehouse. And Monday at school, the teacher said, well, this, you know, they hate mathematics, statistics, everything with an X. So logistics, can you help us to teach these very abstract things? And so Guillaume and Son developed, and Patrick developed this augmented reality system where you place small plastic shelves like that on a table, and the system beam information on the top of it to simulate a warehouse. So this is the exercise. On the right is my warehouse. The trucks arrive, where the trucks leave. And here, oh no, the shelves are too close to drop the boxes. So in real time, he updates the surface being used at the goal of the lesson. And once they are ready, they will run the simulation. And you see the forklift, they go, they pick the boxes in the trucks, they bring it to the shelf. Here is the average time to bring a box from the shelf to the truck, which is the performance of the warehouse. Great. The teacher said, well, you know, these are 4 lamps in the classroom. The teacher, Jacques Curzo, makes the debriefing, said, well, we can explain things that were difficult to explain. The kids, well, they're strong men. The apprentice said, oh, monsieur, ça déchire, monsieur, je peux prendre une photo, monsieur? That was what they said. I don't translate, okay? So we run experiments. In our lab, we always run experiments. We measure knowledge before, after. We compare this super cool technology with paper, and no significant difference. Okay? That's a tough life. We, quite often in the lab, we run experiments, we collect data, and then we cry. Okay? And then we improve the technology, we cry less, and at the end we have a glass of wine and a PhD. Okay? So to improve this, Son has analyzed the 4 teams, and this was the worst team. And you see what is missing is the green column, and the green column is when they don't play, but they discuss about what will happen. Okay? So they were not reflecting, they were just playing. And they could play with this for 20 years without learning anything. So he invented this card. He locks the simulation. So the students have to call the teachers. Sir, we want to run the simulation. Yes, Andreas. Do you think this warehouse will be faster than the previous one? Andreas is a teenager, so I don't know. Okay, so well, call me Andreas when you know. Huh? What? It will be faster. Huh? Why? Andreas. So, and he was forcing them to predict and to explain the prediction. Predicting is a fantastic learning activity, and with this we got significant results. So think about it. We did not change the technology. We only changed the role of the teacher. And we went from non-significant effect to significant effect. So it means that the technology has no effect. The technology has no intrinsic effect. I've been repeating that since 1884. I wrote it so many years ago, and still is a belief over there. But that's a definite proof that you make it efficient just by changing the role of the teacher. It's always a coupling of the technology, the teacher role, the orchestration of the classroom, and so on. So Sébastien did some of them for Carpenter, for learning 3D orthogonal projection, and Lorenzo has been working with carpenters. The carpenters told us, hey, we have to teach logistics. This is new. We have now to teach logistics in 3 hours. Okay, Christophe, Génie Civil, it takes more or less 3 years. And please teach statics without any mathematics. Huh. So Lorenzo developed this augmented reality system where you place load on a mock-up of a roof and snow, solar panels. The solar panels are more on the south, so the roof makes this. So the snow melts slowly on the north, so the roof may make there. And they can change the beam, they can select a more expensive wood, and so on and so on. Okay, now think about it. This is called augmented reality because we overlay digital information on a digital image. Real information, real image on a computer-generated one. So it's reality, but it's not reality. In reality, you don't see forces in the beam. If you see a force in the beam up there, you should run, okay? Because we don't see force, we see movement, okay? So we move from the concept of Erfahrung, capturing experience, to brighter Erfahrung. I invented 2 words in German in my life. It means that we try to expand in the school what they've learned in the workplace. And if you think about it, this is not the shelves, the logistic. It's not augmented reality. It's not reality. In reality, you don't move shelves with 2 fingers. So there is, in the word augmented reality, it's not imitating the reality that is interesting. It's going beyond. It's escaping from reality. And this was the PhD of Kevin and Joseph is here that has been working on that. If you are gardeners, an experienced gardener, look at the left garden. You close your eyes, you imagine the right garden. If you are a novice gardener, first-year students, you see the left one, you close your eyes and you see nothing. Okay? So can we give them this envisioning of what the garden will do? And that's what they have done. So this is my colleague's garden, Philippe. And so we send a drone, makes a tour of the garden. Now we have a 3D model of the garden, and we can do what a gardener can do, put trees, and you can change them as often as you want. In real life, you cannot say, sorry, madam, this tree that I planted 5 years ago, I have to move it. So then you can see where the shadows, there is even a bit of wind in my garden, and then you can do something that is impossible in the real world. You can say, you can change season. Winter. And another thing that is impossible, you can navigate in time. Show me my garden in 5 years. Oh, in 10 years, there will be shadow on my kitchen. Or another thing, you can grab the sun to see the different shadows. So that's quite interesting. It's not reality, it's escaping from reality. So again, this is the idea that it's not e-learning. But also, I loved when teachers said that. A few times in my life, teachers said, I didn't know one could do these kind of things. I never imagined that. And that's why it's good to do education research in a school of computer science, because we find the students who are able to design, even to think about these kind of things. The third topic is called classroom orchestration. And here you see the same teacher for logistics, comparing the warehouse layout designed by different students. It's not easy to orchestrate a class with 4 lamps like that and do the debriefing. And a lot of people have been working on that. Daniel came from Canada today. Thanasis is over there. He's the father of Rigas, actually. He was in the lab for a while. And this is an example of orchestration at EPFL level this time. This is my class, HCI, Human-Computer Interaction. And I have to teach this lesson on different types of interface. Interaction style is the name. And how do you teach that? I can give a lecture, but I rather do this. I give them 4 interfaces to order train tickets. Language line, perform, drag and drop, graphical interface. Please order 5 tickets, train tickets with each interface. And they do, after a short introduction, they do that individually. And then I ask them at the end of the individual activity, I ask them, please rank them by order of preference. And then the system makes pairs of students who disagree. Because remember, we want them to argue, to disagree, to change the view, to argue. So when you have 100 students in a room, you cannot move them. So the system produces 50 chats and they can argue. Then I give them the result, how much time and how many minutes take with each of the 5 interfaces. So that now they can argue with data, not with opinion. That's what is called science. And finally, I do the debriefing. This is what we call an orchestration graph. Okay? It's a plan to integrate in your lesson individual, team, and class activities. I wrote a book about it. Jean-Marc bought I sold 60 of them, but Jean-Marc bought 50 because he thought it will be a bestseller. No, it was a total flop. So we've been working on different types of orchestration at EPFL. This is the new working on dashboard for teachers in Jupyter Notebooks at EPFL, Sina in elementary school, and Quentin, who is over there, and Andrea have been working on Paper. Paper is a fantastic invention. We don't have the patent, but you know, in classroom, you can rotate, you can fold, you can distribute, you can collect. Augmented paper, for me, is still the future of digital education, which brings me to my last axis, which is, we have done a lot of things on robotics. Frédéric joined the lab, Frédéric Kaplan, who is no professor here, and we joined the NCCR robotics, and we did a lot of activities. Julia is somewhere. She has been working on the notion of anthropomorphism in children. When do they project human emotion on objects which do not look like a humanoid? Then we work on humanoid. This is the co-writer project. We take kids who have problems in writing and we say, could you help now to pass a test? This is the protégé effect. When you are in charge of somebody else, you engage much more than if you learn for yourself. Thibaut is here, Elmira is here, Chen Yang is here. They have been working on variation of this project. But of course, these are expensive, bulky devices. We don't want to put that in, we cannot put that in many classrooms. So Thibaut developed this application. You know, handwriting, if you have problem handwriting and you are 6 years old, school is bad for you. Because even 2 + 2, you have to write it. And so it took handwriting of 100 kids with difficulties and 100 kids without, and they write on a tablet. So we have the position, so the speed, the acceleration, the pressure and the tilt of the pen 240 times per second. You feed the machine learning, and the machine learning learn to discriminate non-dysgraphic from dysgraphic and non-dysgraphic from dysgraphic. And he found features that human therapists did not found, like the second derivative of pen pressure. It's difficult to see pen pressure, but it's impossible for a human eye to compute the second derivative of pen pressure. So we've been working with phototherapists. Doing a diagnosis is useless if you cannot solve the problem. So because these kids hate writing is humiliating. They practice with different games, pressure, the tilt of the pen, by driving a helicopter, a submarine, or whatever. Then of course they start writing. The Cellulo project was a small robot that has disappeared, and somebody has stolen my Cellulo, and it gave haptic feedback, but also it locates itself 240 times per second because there is an auto pattern in the paper, and you can recognize this position as being very unique. And we made all kinds of learning activities because you just change the paper and you change the activity, basically. You keep the same robot, you just have to print a different paper. And then one morning, Aberg was working in that with other people. Francesco was involved. Said, Pierre, can I show you something? And he showed me this. And I said, hey, Aberg, that's why I'm professor. I like to be professor. I mean, this was never something I had in mind. It came by serendipity. Swarm robotics, the collective behavior of a certain number of robots. And then I will love this. And then I was part of the NCCR, and my colleague Silvestro Micera or Stéphanie Lacour, or maybe Grégoire, somebody said, Pierre, you know, stroke patients, they do rehabilitation activities. Well, they don't do the rehabilitation activity because they are so boring. Could you gamify rehabilitation? So what we did is a Pac-Man game, and where there is haptic feedback. If you hit a wall, the robot resists, and then you can tune the number of ghosts, the speed of the ghost, the complexity of the maze. Jean-Pierre, remember you have been playing with this at some point. And because we had to test with healthy aging people. And unfortunately, he is very healthy. Unfortunately, this is a medical domain. I abandoned that because it was a bit too difficult. And the last, one of the last theses on that has been HALA. I mean, there is something fascinating in distributed system because we have a centralized mindset. We always believe there is a central cause. And sometimes emergent phenomena are simple, very simple interaction between many agents. And HALA managed to transform that, to make people who start with a very centralized mindset in the Western world were like that, to evolve towards a distributed mindset. And since I talk about HALA, let me stop research and show you the best moment of my lab, professor. Olivier Cutel from the presidency calls me, Pierre, could you welcome the ambassador of the USA? It was the first mandate of the guy with orange hair. And I look at this picture and I say, no. This is a copy of the other. Oh, come on. No. I had all this billionaire with Ebisher, but no. Ask somebody else. So he called me back 2 weeks later. He said, Pierre, he wants to talk about vocational education. That's you. You're the only one doing research on that. Oh. So I said, okay. So the demo were supposed to be done by Sébastien, Guillaume, and Lorenzo. And I replaced them by Hala from Lebanon, Jawaria from Pakistan, and Sina from Iran. That was my... And then, but the guy is, the people are smart. I mean, he noticed something wrong, but he asked Sina, where are you, Sina? He asked Sina, where are you from? Iran. But where from Iran? Tehran. Oh, the ambassador, the US ambassador said, oh, I love Tehran. I have to say thank you to Florence, who has been the boss of the lab. You need a boss when the boss is weak. You need a real boss, and also the mom of all the PhD students. Special thanks to Manu, my Indian brother, who has been with me for so many years, professor at ETH Zurich, and with whom we've built, as Anna mentioned, the only doctoral program between Zurich and Lausanne, joint doctoral program. It's not nano, plasma, quantum, neuro, no, it's education. We're very proud of that. This was based on our trust. I have to say that I also had co-supervised students. Of course, I have no time to talk about everyone. Then I have to thank a lot of people who have been working with me. Simon Sommer from the Jacobs Foundation, Rémi, I don't know if Jean-Michel is there, and then all the school directors and people in charge of education in the canton. Because if you cannot go to school to test a technology, we never publish a technology. We can only publish the results of experiments. So Michel and Cécile for Canton de Vaud, Theo was the head of post-compulsory education Bern, Jean-Claude is here, was the head of compulsory education, and so on and so on. And then a lot of, Philippe is with us, I don't know if Fraser is here, director of private school, because in private school we could go very quickly. 2 or 3 weeks, and also because their students speak English and my PhD students quite often do not speak English, do not speak French. Okay, I burned 3 presidents, 5 deans, and 6 vice presidents. I've been nominated by Patrick Ebicher. I've been promoted as vice provost and provost by Martin, and I will be fired by, by Anna. Then we made the VPA. They all became famous. President, rector, provost, Catherine at the board of the Science Foundation. I became a grandfather. Okay? And why did they all become famous? Because of whom? Because of whom? Because of... And Rüdiger made a list of the things, but the things I'm the most proud is that I made a big hole in the middle of the campus. Nobody has never made a bigger hole. Don't worry, we will fill it soon. These are all the teams who have been working with me, and I have to say it's full of very good people, motivated and competent. Professors like to complain about central administration. There are a few people who are not perfect. There are many professors who are not perfect. So I have to say I was very impressed, and I was really lucky to work with them. I also be lucky that Nicolas accepted to take over. We spent hours with Vanina, his wife, on the cable chair to convince him to take the job, and thanks to that, there is a nice continuity. I want to say thank you to Jean-Marc. I have done 6 startups, but only 1 so far made me richer. That's thanks to Jean-Marc and Catherine, his wife. We built the Swiss Tech Collider with Francesco, Denis, and other people, and we've been lucky, Roman, to have you to run the show. We had, at some point, up to 100 startups in EdTech, and most of them in the German-speaking part. Maud, for being there, and of course, Le Grand Jacques, who has always been with me.
T'as voulu voir Vierzon, on a vu Vierzon. T'as voulu voir Vesoul et on a vu Vesoul. T'as voulu voir Honfleur et on a vu Honfleur. T'as voulu voir Hambourg et on a vu Hambourg. J'ai voulu voir Anvers, on a revu Hambourg. J'ai voulu voir ta sœur et on a vu ta mère. Comme toujours. T'as appelé mes Vierzon, on a quitté Vierzon. T'as appelé mes Vesoul, on a quitté Vesoul. T'as appelé mes Honfleur, on a quitté Honfleur. T'as appelé mes Hambourg, on a quitté Hambourg. T'as voulu voir Anvers, on a vu ses faubourgs. T'as appelé mes ta mère, on a quitté ta sœur. Comme toujours. Mais je te le dis, je n'irai pas plus loin. Mais je te préviens, j'irai pas à Paris. D'ailleurs, j'ai horreur de tous les flonflons, de la valse musette et de l'accordéon. On a voulu voir Paris, on a vu Paris. T'as voulu voir du temps et on a vu du temps. J'ai voulu voir ta soeur, j'ai vu mon Valérien. T'as voulu voir Hortense et les dans le Cantal. J'ai voulu voir Byzance et on a vu Pigalle à la gare Saint-Lazare. J'ai vu les fleurs du Havre par hasard. T'as voulu aimer Paris, on a quitté Paris. T'as voulu aimer du torrent, on a quitté du torrent. Maintenant je confonds ta soeur et dans mon Valérien. De ce que je sais d'Hortense, j'irai plus dans le Cantal et dans toute Byzance. Parce que j'ai vu Pigalle et la gare Saint-Lazare. Ça fait mal au hasard. Mais je te le redis, chauffe la Saint-Tro. Je n'irai pas plus loin, mais je te préviens, caille, le voyage est fini. D'ailleurs que j'ai horreur de tous les flonflons, de la valse musette et de l'accordéon. T'as voulu voir Vierzon et on a vu Vierzon. T'as voulu voir Vesoul et on a vu Vesoul. T'as voulu voir Honfleur et on a vu Honfleur. T'as voulu voir Hambourg et on a vu...
Merci.
Top with your lamp here. So sorry to interrupt this wonderful round of applause. It's the longest I ever heard. So this is, I think, goes really to your credit. It's my honor and my privilege to now do the little bit more official part. We have to still do something about work, but it's also my turn to just say thank you for all you've done for us, all you've done with us. I just mentioned a couple of things that I think we will not forget for the last few years, and I had also the chance to spend with you, together with our colleagues in the VPA. One is that to obtain things from the president, you need to repeat them 3 times. And those of you who were the faculty retreat know, and Martin knows, you say, we need more teaching space, we need more teaching space, we need more teaching space. And here you are with this big hole. So, you know how to obtain things now. First point, and you have to come back for the opening of the double deck. You have to come back for the opening of the double deck. You have to come back. The second point is a little bit more serious. I just like to mention one let's say, learning outcome that I had working with you, and I think some of my colleagues also share. And that's how you interacted with the students. And I think there are quite a few over there. Here they are. You didn't work for the students. You didn't work against the students. You really worked with the students, and you work with them for the benefit of the students themselves here, but also teaching them that they have to work for the benefits of the next generations after them. And you did that really with them, and you did the same for the teachers. You didn't work for the present teacher, you work also for the future teachers. And this is a very, very big point.
With Catherine.
With Catherine, and also, of course, with Martin and all the teams. And this is very important to underline, because this is the way to do it. We have to work with the students, for the students now, and for the students of tomorrow. So I think this is one of the things we will never forget, you know, together with many, many other things you have been sharing with us, and we had the privilege to spend time with you. So now, the little bit more official part. This is the moment in which you really show that you're professor honoraire, or you are relatively old provost. That means that you cannot read what's written here. Well, Anna said that you have given a leg for 4 months of being provost. I'm already in the 10 months, and I don't know what is the consequence now. So, as you know, this means that you are becoming a professor honoraire of EPFL, and you have seen how well you have deserved that. So allow me now to read the official laudation, which is in French, so we switch. À Monsieur Professeur Pierre Dillambourg, aux reconnaissances pour ses contributions majeures aux sciences de l'apprentissage et aux technologies éducatives, grâce à des recherches ayant marqué des domaines comme le MOOCs, l'apprentissage collaboratif et l'interaction en machine. Pour avoir dirigé le laboratoire Chili, fondé le Centre pour l'éducation numérique, cofondé le Swiss EdTech Collider et le Centre Learn, pour avoir occupé d'importantes fonctions de direction académique à l'EPFL, transformant l'enseignement par des initiatives stratégiques en pédagogie et promouvant la création de nouveaux espaces dédiés à l'enseignement, ainsi que pour ses travaux et son engagement qui ont contribué à renforcer le rayonnement international de l'EPFL dans le domaine de l'innovation éducative. Pierre, le diplôme est à toi. Merci. 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 Mais ce n'est pas tout. Une autre petite innovation, je crois que c'est peut-être un des premiers, si ce n'est pas le premier à recevoir aussi. Non pas la tasse avec proud to be a EPFL professor made in China, non. Un magnifique wafer avec son nom, professeur honoraire.
Tu dois expliquer ce que c'est un wafer pour les gens qui ne sont pas de l'EPFL. Qui peut expliquer?
Je te laisse, ce n'est pas les enseignants en ce moment.
C'est comme un compact disque, mais c'est nano, nano, nano.
Merci, Pierre.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci, Pierre.